You're watching Let's Chat.
If you're looking for something that's really cool for either you or the kids to read as we coast into fall, let me introduce to you a guy you got to check him out. It is Shane Berryhill. Shane, good to see you, buddy.
Chip, pleasure to be here.
A new book you have, and this is geared towards the younger readers, right?
Yes, sir. As many of my works have been thus far, my latest novel, The Boogeyman, A Monstrous Fairy Tale, is a Halloween-esque story of monsters and fairies, and basically the premise, Chip, is everything you know about the Boogeyman is wrong.
Right.
He's not really so much a monster as a monster hunter, but in the case of mistaken identity, the kids see him going out the door as he is literally protecting them. So,
wow.
Hence the legend.
All right. Now, I don't know who wrote this about you in the back of the book, but I want to meet them. Let me share this with you for a moment. It says, Shane Berryhill is half man, half monster, and all storyteller. That's a pretty cool compliment. His books are aimed at readers of both young and young at heart, and that goes on to have several other things about your publications, where they're available, and that sort of thing. And you also talk about your lovely wife and your pet puppy.
Quasi.
Quasi.
Yeah.
How'd you come up with the name Quasi?
Well, that came from my young son when we got our puppy dog.
All right. Good enough.
My dog's named after a cartoon cat, Chip. If that tells you
Man, I'm
anything.
all about it. I'm all about it. How long have you been writing on this level? I mean, you can't just wake up.
Oh, it's so good it
The
fell over.
Boogeyman.
Never mind.
It's
We've got
flying
a
off the
second
shelves.
one.
It's flying off the
Literally,
shelves.
Chip.
How long have you been writing on this scale, on this level?
My first book was published in, I believe it was 2006. It was Chance Fortune and the Outlaws.
Right.
It made several national reading lists. It was a New York Public Library's best books for the teenage. It was a Texas Lone Star reading list selection that year. And I've written several sequels to it. I've also written an adult book that takes place here in Chattanooga called Bad Mojo.
Really?
And the premise of it is it follows Zora Banks. She's a hoodoo woman of mixed race, and her story is told through the eyes of her pretty boy redneck partner. It's kind of the Watson to her Sherlock, rather.
Right.
A congressman's wife goes missing, and they have to track her down, opens all kinds of delicious cans of worms.
I've interviewed a number of writers over the years, and one question they universally hate, so I'm going to be consistent and ask you anyway. How do you come up with these ideas?
Well, you see, Chip, there's an idea tree in my backyard. No, seriously, sir.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
It's usually, ideas come, and I think I speak just in general, at least for me, but for a lot of writers, you know, it's when two seemingly juxtaposed ideas that normally wouldn't come together actually do in your mind, and you ask, well, what if? And so, like, for example, the Boogeyman, the premise come to my head was like, well, what if the Boogeyman wasn't really a Boogeyman at all? And the story just sprung out from there, you know. And so it was really fun to write. I've had several people read it, young children, they can't put it down. My own son and wife just finished reading it, and he loved it, and that was the best compliment I could ever get.
I could imagine. I could imagine. Where can folks find not just the new book, The Boogeyman, but also the other titles that you have written? And the total published you have now is up to?
Several, Chip. I don't actually know count.
Understood. Where can we find them?
Well, usually at all the usual places. You can ask for The Boogeyman at all my works at your local bookstore.
Right.
If teachers and librarians can find The Boogeyman at other works at a super discount from Ingram Books and the publisher itself.
Good for you and good for them.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's a neat thing.
And I should mention, if teachers want to contact me direct, I have free study guides for The Boogeyman. They can make a whole classroom lesson out of it.
And I know, without taking up a whole lot of additional time, reading was very important to you as a youngster, as it was to me. And reading is incredibly important, regardless of your stage or your stature in life.
Right. It has always been important through my life, especially when I was in college, Chip, just to get real with you for a moment.
Sure.
My grandfather passed away. My parents were divorcing. I was in a fraternity surrounded by, you know, a lot of party fellows, but no real close friends, just to be honest.
Got it.
And I rediscovered books in that time. in a way, and it was literacy. It was books that got me
Sure.
through that rough patch.
And they can be your best friend. without
Absolutely.
doubt. Shane, good to see you.
Pleasure, Chip.
If you want information on how to get in touch with Shane, I'm sure he'd be happy to come speak to your church or civic organization. You can go to amazon.com/Shane-Berryhill. You can find him on Facebook, or you can contact him.
I think you've nailed it there, Chip.
Nailed it there. All right. Check out The Boogeyman, and that is the correct pronunciation. It is
Correct.
The Boogeyman. It's
Actually-
available at a bookstore near you.